What's up, my Black Scholar Society? Today we are going to be doing a book review of one of my favorite books, PowerNomics by Dr. Claud Anderson. If you haven't already, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. In this review, we will cover 4 of the most important principles in the book. We'll cover the economics, the social, the political, and the role that the church play in our economic development. In Chapter 1, Dr. Claud Anderson talks about the challenge that we are currently facing and a term that he coins as true racism. And he says that true racism is only when one group holds a disproportionate share of wealth and power over another group. Then they use those resources to marginalize, exploit, exclude the subordinate or weaker group. According to this definition of racism, black people cannot be racist because no group of blacks, especially in America, have the power of exclusion or control of resources to the degree that they can educationally, politically, economically, and socially exploit and marginalize the white race. Dr. Anderson talks about 3 different reasons why black people in America aren't competitive. The first is a maldistribution of wealth and resources and power. The second is inappropriate behavioral patterns on the behalf of black people. And the third is lack of national plan for empowerment. So black people don't tend to have a plan to self-empower themselves. First, getting to maldistribution of wealth and resource. Dr. Claud Anderson shows how white people have been managed to create several different types of monopolies in America and how difficult it would be for black people to disrupt those monopolies. Few of the monopolies that he covers are the population monopolies. And so he talks about various laws that allows for immigration from white nations, but prevent immigration from black nations or from nations with people of color. He also talks about wealth monopolies. You see, this include slavery and Jim Crow, which is considered semi-slavery. And it talks about how that system and those systems made white people vastly richer than black people. So they currently control the wealth. And we all know the more money you have, the easier to get money. We all know that some of the biggest contributing factors to building wealth is time and compound interest. And because of slavery and Jim Crow, white people has gotten a huge advantage in America over blacks. The third things that he talks about in this subject of maldistribution of wealth and resources is media monopolies. White people have managed to monopolize all forms of media, essentially how white people control most of the TV stations, radio station, newspapers, and any other forms of news outlets. And so this goes to show how they're able to control how other white people view black people and unfortunately how black people view themselves. One of the things that I love that Claud Anderson talks about is not hating anyone. And so nothing here is a jab at any other race. It's just what it is. The final thing he talks about in this particular subject area is the 2 types of black people that typically sabotage our race. And he talks about the Sambo, which we know today as the Uncle Tom, who betray people for their own personal gain and benefit. And he also talks about the blacker than thou militant, or I would call them today the woker than thou militant, who think that they are God's creation to the black nation. It is so important when you're dealing with economics to develop a sense of culture and a shared economic empowerment mindset. If you cannot do that, whatever you try to build will eventually become destroyed. Socially, black people do not live within communities, they live in neighborhoods. In a community, you have a shared goal and purpose, and in a neighborhood, you simply don't. And we see that a lot of what we will call black communities aren't communities at all because there is no sense of self-preservation or cooperation amongst each other. We also see that during some of America's greatest periods, America's boom, black people did not advance. They remained in the economic depression. This is partially because it is very difficult to build wealth just by working a job. You need to either invest or create a company, probably both. Black people have always been excluded from playing politics by the official rules, and anytime we try to play by those rules, the rules tends to change or the game tends to end. So, and Dr. Anderson recommends that black people remove their voting power from the Democratic Party and not put it in the Republican Party because that's no good, but pretty much sell their 40 million votes to the highest bidder. Whoever is willing to do something for the black community, that is the person that the black community would vote for. Unlike the current system where you do not have to do anything for urban black communities and you can get the black vote by just being a Democrat. And last but not least, the black church. The black church has always been a huge pillar of the black community, but from an economic standpoint, the black church has the power to do a lot more. It has the greatest amount of wealth of any black institutions, but haven't always put that wealth in the best place. If we can get the black church to do what is right for the community, then the community will be so much better for it. Those are the 4 principles that I wanted to review from Claud Anderson's book, PowerNomics. I certainly recommend that you pick up a copy. I will leave a link below. As I always say, love you and live your best life.